Ihan sama mitä muut puhuu. Meidän välit ei oo muuttunut. Ei kuulu muille, ei ne tunne mei. Ihan sama mitä muut tekee. Niitä ei pidä alkaa kuuntelemaan.
Welcome to In the Crease with Ztending. I'm your host, John Ztending. This is my co-host, Lulu Trell. We are brought to you by Goalies Matter Clothing. I am so pumped up for this episode. It's a big one. Our third episode in this season, and we have a big time interview. This was a treat. Good friend of mine. I met her at Network Goaltending Symposium, and I was so excited. And you know, we keep in touch. Her and her fiance, we keep in touch quite a bit. And you know, I asked her if she would come on, and she was like, absolutely, love to. And it was so, man, this was by far the most fun interview, and it was with none other than Noora Raty. And man, it was so cool.
It was cool. It was awesome to talk to her. She's got so many big accomplishments and she's got so many insights on the coaching end of things. It was an awesome interview.
So, I mean, one of the things we did get to touch a little bit on, you know, her career a little bit, of course, because we have to. But it was really nice to hear what she was working on for her own her own technique and what she needs to strengthen, and what she's working on with she's also helping out her goalie partner at Vonka Rays, which is a goalie that I had the privilege to coach at Princeton University, and Kim Newell, we call her Kimbo. And it's so cool, like to see the things that she was helping shift Kimbo into, and her style a little bit, and setting her back and stay on her feet more, and all the things that we've been implementing, and it's so awesome to see, like, all the same things that we're working on, and on a goalie coach front.
Absolutely. And to hear her not only be able to implement those things, but also be able to teach them to her goaltending partner is awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. So another thing that we have on this episode, we did our Apex video analysis, and we worked. You were working on with your New England Wolves goalies, and it was our typical V drill, which is so important because it's adjusting to 45-degree angle, and it's just a solid, one of the simple, most best drills you can possibly do as a goalie.
Absolutely. And you can add so many different elements into it and work on so many different things. And just that one simple V drill, that it's one of the things we keep constant, and just change the variables in the drill and make it challenging for the goalies.
So, hey, did you get a chance to watch the outdoor game with the Flyers, or it changed the time up because the first game they had, refs and players are tripping everywhere.
A little bit of an NHL fail right there with the temperature, maybe the sun, they were saying, but refs were falling, players were falling. It was ice conditions, I guess, were pretty bad out there, but
at the end of the day, they
got the ice better. Yeah, they did. They got it reset. It was the Avalanche game was a good game. Flyers kind of ate it a little bit.
Brutal.
But
what can you do?
What are you going to do?
Hey, with further ado, let's get to the Noora Raty interview. Oh, by the way, this is the best part. I forget to say her name in the intro.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing so well.
You almost whiffed it. You had this awesome intro.
I'm like, all right, here's my friend.
The name.
How you doing? Come on. With no further ado, Noora Raty. All right, welcome, Z-Tenders. For you, we have an awesome interview from Espoo, Finland, 3-time national champ with Team Finland. Started with Team Finland when she was 15. She's got 2 national NCAA titles. She has every career stat you can possibly win in NCAA, including most shutouts, most career wins in a single season and career as well. Best save percentage. It just goes on and on. 3 Patty Kazmaier finalists. Man, and this is my favorite part. You won your last 49 games in college career history, like to go out on such a bang, and then getting into your pro career where you are now partnered up with one of my goalies I coach at Princeton University, Kim Newell. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, I have had an unfortunate injury a couple weeks ago, so I'm rehabbing my knee right now. So I'm not with my team in Russia, but I mean, it's not a bad thing to come home. Since I live in Minnesota, I haven't been able to come to Finland for over a year, so
And
it's been pretty good.
And I didn't mention name, Noora Raty.
Yeah.
I spoke German in high school and college, and so I didn't learn really good Spanish. I can't roll my R's, and I have a Finnish friend that would try and teach me Finnish. I can't do it. So any names I butcher, I'm trying my best.
That's fine. I'm sure you'll do great.
So let's get right into it. I know currently you're battling with the injury, and we weren't really going to talk about that, but you've had some recent good news. But I want to get right into your youth career and what it was like for you growing up and playing youth hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 31 now, so I'm kind of at the end of my career, but I started playing, I was 4 or 5, not exactly sure, but my brother's 3 years older than me, and then my dad coached my brother's team. So I was at the rink all the time, and I had a lot of energy, so I just didn't want to watch him play. So when I was 4 or 5, I got into skating school, and next year I was on a team, and I was probably maybe the only girl in the whole city to play hockey. So there was no organized girls hockey for girls. So I got to play with boys all growing up. And when I was 15, I started playing with a local women's team too. But up until college, I always played with boys. And I don't think many people even realize I was a girl. I was a little tomboy. So growing up, I loved to play all the sports like hockey, soccer, golf, like everything with a stick and a ball or something. That was my expertise and what I love to do. So obviously I had to compete a lot with boys. And I think something I really learned growing up with playing with them was kind of like perseverance and like never give up attitude.
So what, and this is what we've gathered from a lot of Finnish goalies, players in general, and Scandinavian athletes in general, is you guys do a great job of not being so sport specific and working and training as an athlete and not as a hockey player. Growing up in Finland and the training that you've done, how has that helped you, prepare yourself for your athletic career?
I think being a multi-sport athlete is huge. I mean, I played like everything you could ever imagine. Like I tried every single sport, but my top 2 were hockey and soccer. And here, hockey season goes from about September till maybe end of April. And then they melt all the ice at the hockey rinks. There's just no ice available in the summer. So around May, I would just throw my hockey gear in the closet and start playing soccer for 4 months before the hockey season started again. And I was always playing outside different sports, so like the cardio and kind of like the muscle fitness. And like I feel like this is like one of my first injuries I'm going through right now. I feel like what I did as a kid, being a multi-sport athlete, it set me up for success and healthy career in hockey. So I always encourage kids to play as many sports as they can.
So speaking of your injury, it was when you first, were injured, you had this news where it's going to be, it could be surgery and then a year off. And it's just, which is any athlete of any level from Olympic pro to men's league, they're just gut wrenched. And then just with everything you've done throughout your career and your life, with the trainers you have, and even your self-motivation is awesome. And, working out and finding time to work out for yourself, that's helped you to get the recent good news. And can you kind of explain what your physical therapist has told you?
Yeah, so my injury happened 2 weeks ago, and it's a knee problem, and I've never had knee problems in my life. So I'm lucky that I came at 27 years after starting to play hockey. So I went from doctors looking at my MRI and being like, yeah, you'll need a surgery and a year recovery. And I'm like, well, the Olympics are a year away. So I'm like devastated. I'm like, geez, like this is it. To another doctor looking at the MRI and being like, no, like it's just 8 weeks, no surgery, just rehab, to coming to Finland to do rehab because I thought my season's done, for physio to take a look at me and the movements I was able to do without pain, and then orthopedist coming in and being like, this is a medical miracle or something, to like, maybe I could be back in 4 weeks. So on Wednesday or Thursday, I'm going to try skating a little bit once I get my knee brace. And there's a small chance, I don't want to get my hopes too high, that I could possibly be sitting the bench for Kimbo in playoffs. So, but I don't think I'll try to rush to and actually play with it. So, because there's always a chance that it might get hurt again. And then obviously the Olympics would be in danger.
So, and I think that's, I mean, with your team, the Vanka Rays, you guys are packed. You guys have such a star-studded team. You know, you guys won it last year. You're looking to repeat again this year. And you have such an excellent team that you have the luxury of being able to sit back and let the team take control and do their thing. And, you know, it's not that you haven't had anything to do with their success. Obviously you're a big role of the team. But it's got to be nice that in right now where you are is in your mental space, you can take a step back and not rush into it and get into it properly. Now, so as far as your training, what do you think your training that you've done throughout, you know, pretty much your whole entire career, what are some things that you have used and developed and kind of like to utilize on your own, and also train with your younger goalies as well?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, as I say, I just played all the sports and built that cardio, and just like being flexible and like hand-eye, and not getting tired easily because I was always outside from 8 to 10. So that kind of like just came without strength training. And then when I was about 15, 16, I started kind of like basic lifting, nothing special, more like body weight stuff. And strength trainers started introducing me like kind of different techniques. But when I really started strength training for real was when I started at University of Minnesota in 2009. And those who know strength training, I've been training with Cal Dietz with triphasic method since 2009. So it's been like 12 years now. And it's something that's worked really well for me. He kind of cycles the program in 12 weeks where there's kind of like a cardio, max lifting, building the muscle, then you go kind of power speed, and then you should be peaking. If you want to find out more, it's called triphasic. Cal Dietz, he knows what he's doing. He's probably the best in the field. So very fortunate that he was the strength coach at University of Minnesota, and then we continued the relationship after. And with that, I obviously younger kids can't do like as heavy lifting that I'm doing at my age, but I'm bringing a lot of those concepts for my younger kids at Mega Goaltending where I coach. And then just with younger ones, I feel like kids spend so much time on their phones that a lot of them are pretty uncoordinated. So I focus on a lot on balance and coordination and hand-eye. That kind of just naturally happened to myself with playing outside, but kids don't do that much anymore. So you're going to have to include that more in their off-ice training.
What I've noticed throughout the years of coaching is whenever you put like a band or a weight in front of a kid, the kid's like, oh, I want to grab this 45-pound plate when they should be using a 5 or 10-pound plate. And they just want to grab the biggest, oh, I can do this. Great. And you get into the point and they have this horrible mindset of just, I want to lift heavy. I want to lift big. I can pick this up. Look at my terrible form. But at all honesty, when we started implementing a little bit more of the hand-eye and balance, a lot of balance stuff we do, they end up having a lot more fun. They focus a little bit more on our form and not about lifting this massive, weight or pulling the heaviest band they possibly can.
You're right on point. And then a lot of the injuries happen when kids take these heavy weights with bad form, and now they have back problems and hip problems. So I'm a big advocate on always having a good strength trainer with kids, and then starting with body weights and then working their way up. And if you think a goalie, you don't have to be bulky or super muscular. You just have to have like elastic muscles that are able to produce a lot of power.
You'll see the funny part, of goalie not being big is you'll see a lot of NHL goalies, next to their teammates who are massive human beings. And then you see the NHL goalie is kind of like a stick figure, a little bit, definitely strong in their own right, but a little bit different. And it's definitely a little bit of a different body form than some of those NHL players compared to the NHL goalies. So I want so you, not only are you like probably the most decorated goalie and definitely my top goalie as far as females are concerned in the world right now. And I'm happy to call you a friend, but let's talk a little something outside of hockey. Not only do you have an impressive hockey career and continue to do so, but you also have a little bit of an IMDb list.
What list?
Yeah, well, so this is so here in the U.S. we call it IMDb. So it's basically all your actor credits and all that stuff. So you were on Survivor Finland, and then Farm Suomi, which was a reality show that you. I got this right. Where basically it's a reality show where you had to survive in your own little town and build pretty much your own farm and survive off of what they gave you.
Yeah, that's a new term, word of the day. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't say I'm like a big celebrity in Finland, but I'm pretty well known for doing everything that I've done in my hockey career. So once in a while I get these calls to like participate on these TV shows. And yeah, I did the Survivor. I was kind of mid-class, not great, but not the worst. But then a year later I went on the farm, which is basically they put us on a farm from 200 years ago. No running water, no electricity, had to produce our own food and take care of the farm animals and so on. And I actually ended up winning that show. So that was pretty cool. I was there for a month, and then I won 30,000 euros, which is about $35,000. And then I got to donate it for youth hockey. So that was pretty special.
I love that. I absolutely love
awesome.
that. So you didn't go out first on Survivor though, right?
No, I think I was like fourth or fifth. I was voted off just before the tribes combined.
There you go. So it's good thing not to be the first one out, at least.
Yeah, exactly. That was my goal.
Survive as long as I can, of course. Now with the Vanka Rays, you are the starting goalie. You are also, ambassador of the team and the goalie coach as well. What are some things that you guys were before you just went home to Finland? What were some things you guys were working on in goalie world?
Yeah, so I've been with Kim Newell for 3 years now, and then first year the coach kind of didn't let me do the coaching much, and he wanted me to focus on playing. But then we got a new head coach, and he really wanted me to start mentoring Kim, and she was open to the idea. So we actually started working a lot last season, and then we continued it this season. And then actually now for starting January, they brought in a goalie coach from Finland. So just for us to focus on just playing, so I don't have to have the coaching responsibilities. But Kim is very, very technical goalie, super smart. So sometimes it's hard to sell ideas for her, but you've coached her. But I thought, given that she's almost 6 foot tall, I feel like she was too aggressive. So what we started working on, instead of sliding, beating the place on feet, because she's a really good skater, I felt like she was over sliding a lot and causing a trouble, and people were passing by her and she was out of the situation. And then what we did a lot is lateral release and lateral place instead of sliding, like I mentioned. And then something that's huge for her is this box control, like knowing like what she covers and when, and because she's so smart, she learned it really fast. So like on rushes, like below the dot angle, she would be out to challenge the player, and she could almost be on the goal line and cover the whole net. So it took a while to get her realize that she can really step back, kind of make crease and cover everything. So I feel like once she figured that out, and then just trusting her edges, she took her game to another level. And I think this season she's rocking like a 97 save percentage. So she's having an awesome year, and I'm really excited to see her play in playoffs and see how. Obviously, I played kind of like the playoff games the past 2 years, so I'm really excited to see how she can handle the pressure, and then hopefully we can get the championship.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, and for those, everybody who was watching this, I coached at Princeton University for 6 years, and Kim Newell was one of my goalies there. And what you mentioned earlier too, she is a smart person, and it's very hard to convince her, on techniques that that work, and it's something that maybe it's new to her. There's been a couple times I remember, working with her. And I always throw some stuff out there. Hey, listen, you might like this. You probably won't, maybe, but give it a try. Tell me what you think, and let me know your own observations and what's going on in your brain and how it's interpreting this. And I remember there's definitely been a couple times, but Z, why would we do that? That's so silly. Like, why? And I'm like, just go with it. Try it, see how it works, and then we'll go there. And sometimes if it wasn't like the most technical skating, if it was like out of the box and just fun and silly skating, she's like, this, I don't understand why we're doing this. And it's tough.
Yeah, and I feel like something that's been huge for me is like just having an iPad on the ice. So I mean, I'm not technically perfect, but I could say I'm pretty technical goalie. So like basic concept, like shifting and not letting your body to spread out, because she kind of had that problem where she was just dropping and reaching, not shifting into shots. And in women's hockey, you have a lot more time to react and shift than you have on the men's side. So then we would do like basic stick save drills, and then I worked on shifting for years and years and thousands of reps. So it's kind of automatic for me. So for me, it was kind of easy to be like shift, take video, and then have Kim shift and then compare. So since she's so smart, she can see the difference, kind of like, oh, that's what you mean. That's what I'm supposed to do. And then she gets it like this. So it's like you show her once and she's already doing it. And then as you say, then, I mean, the tough part is like, we are also teammates. So it's like, I'm a coach, but I'm also a teammate. So then I always tell her, like, just try it. If you hate it, don't do it. But if you like it, then start working on it. So it's been good.
That your tandem reminds me of a NHL tandem that's very similar with Pekka Rinne and UC Saros, where Saros, I don't know if he's still living, but was living with Pekka Rinne for a while, and basically, Pekka Rinne is one of my favorite goalies, and is on his way out as far as his career, and he's been around for a while, but he's basically taken Saros underneath his wing, and doing the same thing. He's literally working on the person who's going to take over his own job, and pretty much has this season. And they haven't been doing great this season. That's besides the point. But so let's talk real quick about, I have just a couple questions here. And this is a good one. So speaking of which, with my relationship with Kimbo, and sometimes we butted heads, as student coach, have you ever butted heads with a coach and kind of like didn't see eye to eye, or have you been pretty much smooth sailing like your whole entire career?
I think if you ask any coach who coached me, they say I'm not the easiest one. I think, yeah, I'm very stubborn and very like intimidating, I would say, for some people if they don't know me. So some coaches are very intimidated to coach me, especially now because I've coached for 8 years, so I know a lot. So I don't know if they feel like that if they tell me something, I can always one up them. I don't know if that sounds cocky, but like I just know a lot. And then, but at the same time, I always tell like I want to be coached. But where I'm having trouble is like I don't know many coaches that are actually like willing to coach me and really take the time and give me the feedback. Because whenever I kind of ask coaches like, oh, what are you seeing? And they're just like, oh, it looks good. And I'm always looking to get to that next level. And then when I was younger, I would just say, like, I was just very stubborn. But like once I got a coach, like at University of Minnesota, Andy Kent, he came in at 2010, and he was willing to take the time and build the relationship, and he got my trust. So he could have told me, like, dive on your belly, do 100 bulk checks. I wouldn't have questioned him. Whereas like if a coach that like who doesn't take the time to build the relationship with me, I think for those coaches it's hard to sell the ideas for me. So to me, it all starts from building the relationship and gaining my trust, which I know is not easy.
Well,
So.
one coach has definitely gained your trust, and that's Karl Popper, who you were engaged to, mega goaltending coach as well. You guys have two dogs, Dino and Kit. And you, I know it's definitely got to be tough because you've been away from him, you know, for over a year now, or almost a year.
No, just a month.
There's a month. Okay. So, well,
Yeah.
you don't get to spend, besides the summers, you don't get to spend a ton of time at home. And it's been, with your career and everything. But tell me a little bit about the relationship between, I mean, Karl's a goalie and a goalie coach, and obviously he's not intimidated by you.
Except he just told me yesterday, because I was like, well, you want to coach me this summer? And he was like, no, you're too grumpy to be coached. So so I guess
funny.
I have to find another coach. I hope Andy's willing to help me this summer.
There you go. Well, and this
Yeah.
summer I won't be out in Minnesota, but we talked about this before. Next summer I'll be there, and I can't wait to catch up with you guys in person. It's been too long. So we met in Madison, Wisconsin, at the Network Goaltending Symposium, where you were brought in there to be their rock star. And so there's a couple other goalies that were there. We have Brian Elliott as well. But one of the questions we ask our Z-tenders, and it's what I call all my goalies, Z-tenders, is what piece of advice would you give to a young goalie? So for you, I would like to ask this, what piece of information would you give a young Noora Raty, as she's growing up in her youth career and dealing with everything, and kind of the same things you see that your young mega goaltenders dealing with currently today?
I would probably say two things that I've learned along the way is one's like focus on the process, not the outcome. Obviously you need to have your goals, but once you have that goal in mind, just focus on the little things that will take you there, and don't spend your energy on thinking what you actually want to achieve. Like focus on what needs to happen along the way to get there. Then another one is control what you can control. Kind of cliche again, but like when I was younger, I feel like I was spending way too much energy on things that I couldn't control, whether it was bad refs or my defense playing for bad or my teammates doing something. And it's like, well, in the end, like there's no reason to waste energy on those type of things, because the only thing you can control is yourself at the present moment. So those are probably two things. And then I don't think I actually replied to your Karl question, but I don't want to throw him under the bus with the crumpy comment. But yeah, the relationship is good. It's hockey, and a little more hockey, and then a lot of duck walks. So and then weekends we go relax at our cabin. So it's a good relationship, and I think the wedding's still on, so it's all good.
Well, I wish you luck in that. I married my wife. She plays hockey as well. She's a physical therapist. I mean, she helps me run the business. She was a defenseman, and so I know how those hockey relationships are. We are hockey all the time. If our dogs could play hockey, we would figure that out as well. Lou, do you have any questions for Noora?
No, that was awesome. Great insight too. I'm actually going to go tell my my junior goaltenders who I'm going out with in about 10 minutes. Some of the stuff you just said. So
awesome.
Noora, I appreciate it. I hope to have you on again sometime soon. Good luck. We weren't going to talk about your injury, but it just goes to show of all the perseverance that you've had and everything that you've done getting up to this, you know, that you've made your body into this well-oiled machine, and then you continue to hone your craft. And I really love watching you play, and I can't wait to see you next time you're on the ice. And I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. And injuries are not a bad thing, so it gives you time to kind of sit back a little bit and relax, and maybe work on your mental game too. So it's sometimes it's not a bad thing. So, but thanks for having me. It was fun. Good to see you.
Love it. Thank you so much, Noora.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Okay. Noora Raty. I mean, pretty much has every NCAA record, you know, wins, save percentage, shutouts, you name it. She's got it. Professional career. And it's so cool to see, you know, I followed her for a long time, and it's really cool to see this person that I was actually able to meet and then become friends with her and her fiance, and really to trying to like learn a little bit more of all the things that she's done to get herself in such a strong athletic shape, and, you know, a multi-sport person.
Yeah.
And it actually, one of the things is she just was injured, and it's helped her because she has made her body into such in such good shape as far as being injury prevention, and not just trying to lift the greatest amount of weights, but it's so many different things with balance, and it's just so cool to see. You know, one of the things, you know, we really wanted to bring her on was really to talk about some of the things she's coaching, and it's just cool to hear, you know, a story about an injury that can actually end into a positive because of all your hard work.
Absolutely. And even just from that story branching off and all sorts of different things, you know, she was talking about her advice to her younger self, and some of it revolved around the injury and trusting the process and not the results, and you know, being, you know, gaining some general athleticism from being a multi-sport athlete from when she was younger. It you know, it goes all around.
All right, man. So we have a pretty awesome analysis. So you took the lead on this one. This is your goalies up at New England Wolves. And go us through a little bit real quick of what you're about to talk about.
Sure. So we took a V drill that we were just talking about, and we, in the clip we're going to show, it's a lot of power leg. So it's going to simulate, the goalie's going to simulate a save, power leg, but specifically in this drill, we were working with them on getting their head around before the movement and tracking the puck throughout. So you're going to see LJ do a pretty good job at tracking his imaginary puck and keeping his chin tucked and eyes focused on where it needs to go and getting that body around, following that head.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get to it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, on this drill we have Ztender, LJ Newell, one of our past guests on New England Wolves goaltender. He's doing a V drill. And the thing I was emphasizing with all of our goalies here in the background you see on this drill was tracking. So as we move through this drill, LJ's going to work on getting his head and his eyes around and following the puck. I know there's not a puck. He's visualizing the puck. So what he's working on is getting eyes ahead of the movement. So he's tracking the puck the whole time as he rolls through his drill. So if we look at the beginning part, slow it down just a hair. He's simulating a stick save right here. Eyes are staying on the puck. Knees coming up to drive. Getting a nice power leg push. And as he makes this adjustment, puck's coming back. Eyes come around. Gets his edge. Knee comes up. Eyes are still staying on the puck. Shoulders and hands are starting to come around and push back. Same thing to the other side. Stick save. Eyes are staying on the puck. Nice big push. Maybe getting a little lazy with his hand there. Not having a glove up. But again, as he's coming back, eyes are coming around. Using his edge to make the adjustment. Knees coming up. Big power leg push. eyes stay right in the puck the whole time. And again, another edge adjustment. Z, what do you see in this?
One of the most important things, that you guys are doing in this drill is the visualizations and actually visualizing something happening, a play in mind. In this case, we have a stick save and power legging into it, getting good rotation, and then for another pass back or however the play breaks back up to the top of the crease. These movements and this V drill is a common drill. A lot of coaches and we do a lot because the sole purpose of the V drill is really to get you back on the angle after a good rebound control. And then the tracking with your eyes and getting the hands around is so key and so important to be able to keep your chin tucked and keeping your eyes on the angle and make sure that you're keeping your hips engaged. So that way you can get proper rotation and have all that happen. There's a lot of times where when we push, we try and load our leg and we're still not rotating our head or our shoulders around. And then it's taking so much more time to get around because we're not leading with our eyes.
Yep. And just to read, LJ is very good at keeping his chin tucked and using the full scope of his vision in his movements. So he gets around his, you notice his chin's tucked the whole time. His eyes are right in the center of his sockets. Awesome. And that is the Apex video analysis for this week.
All right. That was our Apex video analysis. Really cool. So that is the V drill is one of the most basic and also one of the most important drills as far as transitions. And it's so important what you are showing to lead with the eyes and make sure that the shoulders, hands, and eyes are not, they're not separate things. They should move together and help steer your body to where you're going. It's so important. I mean, it's one of the things I feel like we work on the most.
Absolutely. And I know we do a lot of stuff in the summer on vision and getting the body to follow our eyes and our head. And if we're tracking that puck and we're able to get our head and our eyes around, we're gonna be able to track it from the shot release, no matter where we are, and get our body to make that save.
Exactly. And so what's really cool, and you just kind of mentioned it, is our summer camps are now posted, and I'm so excited for all the camps that we're doing. We have a jam-packed summer.
Okay.
It's going to be so much fun. Summer camp season is kind of it's not why I do it, but it's one of the most amazing perks of doing this, because you get to meet so many different people from so many different areas. You get to see where they live, and it's just awesome. You get to see kids at all different levels, and it makes it a little bit more fun, and you enjoy to hear all these different stories, and it just opens up your eyes completely.
Oh, absolutely. And it's big for them, because especially some of the younger kids, even the older kids, you see at the beginning of the camp where they're kind of shy and not talkative. And then by the end of the camp, they're best friends with the other kids. They're fully engaged on the ice. They're having a blast. You got a kid that's spinning around in circles on the ice, having a blast. So it's an awesome time.
So we are, so we're back in South Carolina, and you're going to be there with us for the first time. That's exciting.
Yep.
We are back at Waterville Valley, New Hampshire. And that's where, literally in a barn on a lake,
Beautiful
on a mountainside.
Scenery. Yeah.
Like it's along all these beautiful mountains. And it was the best cap to our summer last year. Now it's right in the middle. It's actually very exciting. I still can't wait to make that hike like we did before.
Oh yeah.
And I plan on doing a lot more hiking as we're up there too. We
Lots of trails.
We added more camps in the hub of Ztending, which is the Eastern PA, New Jersey region, Central New Jersey. And we have Igloo. Pro Skate, Grundy, and we also have our elite camp, of course. It's exciting.
It definitely is. It's I'm excited to go down to South Carolina for the first time. So that's going to be, I hear you guys talk about it every year, and I can't wait to go down there.
It's beautiful. It's so rich in history, and you know, we're pampered living. You know, I grew up in Philly. You grew up outside of Philadelphia. Like, you know, it's you got to see. You know, it's such rich history, and you learn so much, and you appreciate where you live so much more. And going to these areas too, you get to appreciate, you know, the areas you're in and your home as well, just as much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate the Levittown area.
Yeah. So we had an awesome interview with Noora Raty. You know, Team Finland. She went to the University of Minnesota, crushed it, obviously. I mean, they had a banger of team too. Man, like completely stacked. I mean, most of that team is, you know, Olympians, or half that team's Olympians at least. And not just Olympians, but stars like Megan Bozak.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. So it's really cool to see, you know, the growth of women's hockey. And so she plays for the Shenzhen Vanka Rays, and they play in what is the women's version of the KHL. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because I say it wrong every time. But they won it last year. They're trying to win it again this year. Her and Kimbo and Tretiak, and I love to see all the updates, and it's really fun to see, you know, where women's hockey is going, and how it needs to progress and keep progressing, and a lot more people need to start backing it a lot more, and seeing what incredible talent there is out there. And it's just, you know, it's the Olympics are coming up, and you're going to see another crazy set of battles, you know, and it's, you know, there's, you know, a lot of the same top teams as the men's, but you see, you know, the Finnish goalies, you know, from the women's side, and they're just tearing it up, and obviously US and Canada, but there's so many other, you know, with the Russian girls, and it's just evolving so much, and it's fun to watch.
Absolutely. It definitely is. I mean, even NWHL, you know, I'm watching that on Twitch, you know, before they got shut down. But, you know, it's amazing the talent that's out there that people aren't tuning in to see, you know. And the All-Star game was last year, a couple of years ago, kind of showcased some of the women's talent that's out there, and it's awesome. I wish we could see more of it.
Well, I'm lucky enough that this weekend coming up, my wife is going to be reffing PWH PA game, which is a branch, the group of females branch off of the NWHL. They left there and made their own players, professional women's hockey players association. And so, I mean, that's like talents like Hillary Knight and quite a few like
big names.
Yeah. And it's so, I love that. I'm like, all right, you're going to go ref. I'm going to go watch. This is awesome. I'm going to go watch some amazing hockey for free and up close too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, dude, this interview, this analysis, it was awesome. This is third episode in season. You know, this is only going to get better. I can't wait. We have a whole bunch of interviews lined up for you guys, a whole bunch more different analysis, and then even more than just analysis, there's going to be some gear talk as well. And we're going to get into eventually our summer camp season. So stay tuned with us. We really appreciate you. Subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribe. Hit the like button, please, and share if you will. But we really appreciate anybody who was watching us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Ihan sama mitä muut puhuu, meidän välit ei oo muuttunut. Ei kuulu muille, ei hän ne tunne mei. Ihan sama mitä muut tekee.